Welcome to my channel, Veterans Legacy. Tonight, I want you to sit back, turn up the volume, and let this story settle into your heart. Because what you're about to hear isn't just about an old man, or a misunderstanding, or a moment in a crowded restaurant. No, this is about legacy, respect, and the silent oaths that warriors keep long after the uniforms come off. The wind pushed hard against the glass doors of the small diner on Highway 41, the kind of place where truckers stopped for hot coffee and families stopped for warm pie. Inside, the smell of grilled onions and fresh pancakes drifted across the air. It was Christmas week, and the neon sign flickered open against the cold night. The bell over the door jingled softly, and in stepped an old man. His coat was faded, his boots worn, and his hands trembled slightly from the December chill. On his head rested a wrinkled olive-green cap, its stitching frayed, its patches sun-faded, but the emblem unmistakable. United States Marine Corps. His name was Raymond Holloway, though no one in the diner knew that yet. To most people, he looked like just another lonely old man searching for warmth. His back was bent, but his eyes, those eyes still held the hard steel of battles fought far from the comforts of this small town. He moved slowly toward an empty booth near the window. But before he could sit, a young waiter stepped in front of him, nervous, unsure, and too quick to judge. Sir, I'm really sorry, but this table is reserved." Raymond blinked, confused. The diner was mostly empty. "Oh," he murmured softly. "All right. No problem. I'll sit anywhere." But when he moved to another booth, the waiter hurried again. "Actually, sir, those seats are for a party that's coming later. And management said we need to keep things clear tonight. The place fills up fast and, well," Raymond understood the tone. It wasn't the seats they didn't want. It was him. His clothes weren't new. His boots squeaked from years of wear. And though he didn't smell bad, he carried the distinct scent of someone who lived alone, of old wood, forgotten rooms, and silent mornings. The waiter fidgeted. Maybe you could come back another time." Raymond lowered his eyes. He had been turned away before, at stores, at gatherings, even at church sometimes when his tremors made people uncomfortable. "No trouble," he whispered. "I'll just get going." He turned, every step slow, every breath heavy. But fate had placed 6 men in that diner for a reason. At a long table near the back sat 6 active-duty U.S. Marines, back from training, grabbing dinner before heading home for the holidays. Their uniforms were crisp, their posture straight, their presence unmistakable. They had seen the exchange. They had heard the words. And as the old veteran turned to leave, chair legs scraped sharply against the floor. One Marine stood, then another, and another, until all 6 Marines rose at once, their boots hitting the ground with such synchronized force that every head in the diner turned. The youngest Marine, barely 21, spoke first. His voice carried the tone of someone who recognized something sacred. "Sir," he called out firmly. "Marine. Hold up." Raymond paused, startled. He hadn't heard that word, spoken with respect, in years. "Come sit with us," the Marine continued. "If you're wearing that cap, then you've earned a place at any table you want." The diner fell silent. The waiter froze. The manager peeked out from the kitchen, unsure what to do. Raymond swallowed hard. "I don't want to bother you boys." But the oldest Marine in the group, a staff sergeant with calm eyes and a jaw carved from stone, stepped forward and placed a gentle hand on the old man's shoulder. "Sir," he said, voice low and steady, "you're not a bother. Your family." Raymond's lips trembled. I served back in '68, he whispered. "Haven't worn this cap in a while." The sergeant nodded. "Then this meal is long overdue." They guided him to their table, the one with the best lighting, the cleanest seats, and the warmest conversations. As he sat down, the Marines didn't look at him like a stranger or an old man. They looked at him like a brother. The waiter approached hesitantly. What can I?" The sergeant cut in gently but firmly. "We'll cover his meal, everything he wants, and make it quick, please." "Yes, sir," the waiter said, suddenly standing straighter. Raymond removed his cap slowly, placing it on the table with reverence. The Marines observed the patches, Vietnam service ribbon, unit insignia, and a faded purple heart pin. "You got stories, don't you?" one Marine said with admiration. Raymond chuckled softly. More than I remember, and more than I want to. They laughed with him, not at him. And for the first time in years, he felt seen. Not as a burden, not as a shadow of someone he used to be, but as a Marine. He told them how he was drafted at 19. How he lost friends in places whose names he still couldn't say out loud. How he returned home to silence, to confusion, to a world that moved on without him. The Marines listened closely, every word a lesson, every memory a treasure. At one point, Raymond's voice cracked. I always thought, maybe my time didn't matter anymore. The sergeant leaned forward. Sir, because of men like you, we get to go home. We get to come back to our families. Don't ever think your time didn't matter. You carried the torch. We're just trying to keep it lit. Raymond wiped a tear with the back of his hand. Thank you. I just didn't expect kindness tonight. The youngest Marine grinned. Sir, kindness is the minimum. Respect is what you've earned. The food arrived. Steaming plates of roast beef, mashed potatoes, biscuits dripping with butter. They made sure Raymond's plate was the fullest. Halfway through the meal, the manager approached the table nervously. Sirs, sorry about earlier. I didn't realize. The sergeant didn't let him finish. No disrespect taken, he said calmly. But next time a veteran walks through your door, you better treat him like someone who kept it open. The manager nodded quickly. Raymond looked down, emotional. They didn't mean harm. People sometimes just don't know what they're seeing. The sergeant nodded. Then we teach them. The Marines spent nearly 2 hours with him, laughing, sharing stories, asking questions. They didn't rush him. They didn't pity him. They honored him. When it was finally time to go, Raymond tried to stand, but his legs wobbled. Immediately 2 Marines were at his sides. I'm all right, he whispered. We know, one replied. But we've got you. Outside, snow had begun to fall. The streetlights glowed softly, and the night felt still, almost sacred. One Marine opened the door for him. Another pulled Raymond's coat tighter around his shoulders. Where's your car, sir? The sergeant asked. Raymond hesitated. I walked. The Marines exchanged glances. Then we're driving you home, the sergeant said without room for argument. Raymond chuckled weakly. You boys don't give up, do you? No, sir, the sergeant said with a warm smile. Marines don't leave Marines behind. They escorted him outside, through the snow, toward their vehicle. The lights reflecting on the pavement gave everything a cinematic glow, like the world itself paused to witness a moment that mattered. Raymond climbed inside slowly, the warmth of the heater brushing life back into his cold hands. As they pulled out of the lot, he glanced. Back at the diner, its windows glowing gold, its doors still open. Thank you, Raymond whispered. For tonight, for everything. The sergeant looked at him with the kind of respect only warriors understand. Sir, thank you, for carrying the weight so the rest of us could follow. When they reached his small, aging house, the Marines walked him to the door. Before he went inside, Raymond stopped. If my boys were still here, he said softly, they'd be proud of you. All of you. The sergeant shook his hand firmly. And they'd be proud of you, sir. Always. Raymond stepped inside, turning once more to look at the 6 Marines standing in his snowy yard, their breath-forming clouds in the cold, their silhouettes strong, unshaken. The door closed quietly, and for the first time in years, the old veteran didn't feel alone. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the sacrifices made by those who served, then do me one favor. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps honor the men and women who gave everything, and continue to give.